Earth is 4.5 billion years old, and we know the timeline of major events that took place on Earth. But what about the future? What will the Earth be like in 4 billion years? Through looking at several influences, we can understand the future and have good predictions. So let's see what would spending a day on this future Earth be like. It's just that a day on this future Earth will likely be more than 40 hours rather than 24 hours, since the Earth's rotation is slowing down a bit. Looking at Earth from space in such a distant future, the planet would not even be recognizable at all. It would look like some type of a hell world. That would be the case because of the runaway greenhouse effect that would take place on the surface, caused by the increased luminosity of the sun, making the whole planet extremely hot. Obviously, there would be no oceans. They would have been all long gone by that time. Also, all continents and every bit of land would be completely unrecognizable. Plate tectonics would also obviously be stopped, meaning continents would not shift anymore. When setting a foot onto the surface, you would need to have such a spacesuit that would need to withstand extreme temperatures that even melt the surface. That's right, while setting a foot, you would notice that the surface is not even completely solid, as likely the temperatures would be that extreme. But your spacesuit would somehow need to keep you afloat in this melted surface, and would also need to protect you from huge doses of radiation. That is because the magnetosphere would have decayed by that time, allowing for radiation from outer space to get to the surface of the Earth, making for a hostile, poisonous environment. Searching for life with any instrument would not be worth it, as in such extreme environment there would be no living organism. Even hardy microscopic ones could not possibly exist. That would be the time in which every living organism on Earth would be dead. It would be the end of life. Searching for any trace of a leftover from a civilization would also not be very successful, as everything we have made, every city, every statue, every work, would be buried many kilometers under the surface, and would be completely deformed and deteriorated, not resembling anything that we have made at all. Looking at a distance, you would see an unfamiliar atmosphere. It would likely be brownish or reddish, but it would not resemble our current blue one at all. And the landscape would look hellish with flowing molten rock and dirt. And looking up, if you were at the right place, you would see the moon. But it would seem a lot smaller, since the moon is getting away from Earth a tiny bit every year, and in such a long time, it would eventually be very far away. It would also likely have a deformed molten surface that would be unrecognizable. Looking at the sun, it would be apparent that it would be many times brighter than it is today. You would go blind if you looked at the sun unprotected for a few moments. In general, the whole solar system would look a lot different. So it is true that everything we do today, no matter how important it may seem in the moment, in 4 billion years, it would all seem to have no actual significance. Whole civilizations, whole species of living organisms, every one of them, they would all be just a bunch of atoms scattered throughout the Earth's crust, having no resemblance to their original state. Despite the Earth not having a happy end, everything, if you look at it long enough, won't have a happy ending. But what I am talking about is still 4 billion years into the future. It is incredibly far away, and luckily that future is not now. Still, it is quite interesting to predict as to what will happen. It will help us have important realizations we have not had before.